Hey guys, Professor Bell, Comic Book University, and Judas, issue number 2. All right, so Jeff Loveness is clearly a guy who was forced to go to Sunday school, much like myself. All right. Wow, really good stuff. Like, this is stuff that I feel like I could have written if, I would have had the inspiration to write like this guy. All props to this dude. All props. This is an amazing story. All right. This is the story. Is it God's story? Is it Satan's story? But the person who Judas did meet was, in fact, actually Satan. He is actually in hell. He did hang himself. He is in hell. But hell is a different thing. Jezebel is dealing with her things. They pointed out how Pharaoh, how God hardened his heart. And there's always the thing of, okay, but even though God says this, you got to remember, he did it to himself. It says he didn't. He says, so I don't know what you're talking about. He made him worse. So what does that say? Like, he needed to punish him. He needed a villain for the story. Goliath. Literally, Goliath. Why was Goliath such a bad guy? You know what I'm saying? Honestly, the people who, they didn't even mention it here, I've always felt to myself, Samson was one of the cruelest people on the face of the planet. Nobody ever did anything bad to him. Nobody. Ever. And yet, he did the worst things to people. It's just, oh my God. Like, I'm sorry, I've read the Bible 5 times cover to cover. All right. And the New Testament, I've read an extra 2 times. So, and of course, every person likes to dabble in Revelations a lot. There's so much fun there. But, yeah, I've read the Bible a lot, and I can't help but to think this is one of the best stories that Loveness is writing here. This is just one of the best. The art, fantastic. I can't find too much wrong with this comic book. This is an independent comic. It's not one of the Marvel or DC comics, and you kind of need to be reading this. So please, honestly, I get 0 out of this. Consider, if you've read this comic book or you're just checking out this review, consider buying the comic again or passing on your comic to a friend. Just, whatever. Somebody's not caught up in the whole idea of, oh my God, religion, this is the way it's going to be. No, just how about instead this is a really, really fun story. This is interesting. What an interesting new take on things, a way to look at things differently. I love it. I love it. I'm giving this comic book an A. Loving it. I got to see how this story finishes. All right. But in the meantime, this is looking great. By the way, Jesus goes to hell. And no, that actually happens in the Bible, in case you were wondering. Jesus does go to hell for 3 days. All right. He took on all the sins of mankind. He had to know what it was like. So Jesus, when you do something bad and you ask Jesus for forgiveness, and it's like, oh, don't worry, Jesus died for that sin. As long as you remember, blah, 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 blah. He not only died for the sin, he died and went to hell for 3 days. So, this is going to be the 3 days in hell. I don't know how this whole story is going to end, but that will determine if I have to simply put Loveness up at one of the top tiers on my list of great writers of all time. Yeah. All right, guys. Professor Bell, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.